The grand final is set in the Women's Rugby World Cup. We have champions in the Pacific Nations Cup and the Currie Cup in South Africa. World Cup qualifiers on the weekend ended up in a draw, and we have all the action from club results all around the globe. Hello and welcome to the Rugby Roundup with Big Mike here at Big Mike Rugby. It is September 24th, 2025. Now let's talk some rugby. That's right, slight rebrand of the name. We've gone from Big Mike Sports to Big Mike Rugby. Because there's only one thing I love and talk about, and that is the beautiful game of rugby union. Also on this week's episode, we look forward to this weekend, where we have the first round in the URC and the English Premiership. But enough of all that. Let's get to the roundup. We are going to start this week by talking about international rugby, international women's rugby, and the Women's World Cup, where last weekend we saw the two semi-final matches. Now, the first one was third taking on second ranked in the world. This one was New Zealand versus Canada. Previous encounters between these two were 1-1 and 1 draw. So, at half-time, Canada do what Canada do. They are up 24 points to 7. Complete demolition job of the Black Ferns in the first half, destroying them up front, cutting them up in the middle, showing them exactly what they have been building to for the last few years. Despite winning the second half, New Zealand did go down in the semi-final, 34 points to 19. This marks the end of the Black Ferns' undefeated World Cup run, which goes back to the 2017 competition. The defending champions are out, and we are guaranteed new champions for the first time since 2014. This is just the second time Canada have qualified for the final, which they did in 2014, where they lost to England. And speaking of England, they took on France in their semi-final at half-time. This one was 7 points to 5 in England's favour. In the 53rd minute, it was 14 points to 12. And then England turned it on, and France could not match them at all. Final score, 35 points to 17. England will be going back to the Rugby World Cup final. Now for England, this is their 7th consecutive finals appearance. They have only won a single final in 2014. France and New Zealand will be meeting in the third place playoff. France have come third 5 times out of the last 6. England have come second 5 times out of the last 6. Both of these games, the third place playoff and the final, will be played at Twickenham in front of a sold-out house. Now let's go to international men's rugby. We will start with the World Cup qualifier first leg between Chile and Samoa. This one took place in the United States as the Samoan home game due to the fact that they are not able to currently host any international fixtures. These two teams have only played once before, with that match in the World Cup in 2023, Samoa winning that one 43 points to 10. This one was much closer. In fact, Chile got out to a 32-13 lead with just 31 minutes left before Samoa turned it on. They felt all that panic and they turned it into amazing rugby, scoring 19 unanswered points, meaning that this one is a draw. Looking at the Chile Rugby Instagram page, the big showdown this weekend, winner take all, is sold out. In the Pacific Nations Cup, there was the third place playoff between Tonga and Canada. Tonga got out to a 14-7 lead at half-time. It was 14-all with 25 minutes left before Tonga turned it on. This was the Patrick Pellegrini show. He got all the kicks. He got 3 of the tries. This one finished 35-24. Tonga finishing third in the Pacific Nations Cup. Then there was the final once again between Japan and Fiji. This was a battle of momentum and a true tale of two halves. Japan got out to a 10-0 lead at the 20-minute mark before Fiji scored 4 tries to finish the first half, leading 26-10, quickly making it 33-10 in the second half. But then Japan started coming back. 1 try, 2 tries, a penalty. But unfortunately for Japan, they could not do it. They ended up losing this one by just 6 points. 33-27, Fiji once again, our Pacific Nations Cup champions. All right, now let's talk club results. We are going to start with men's club results, and we're going to hit up France first. Talking about that top 14, it was round 3. First game of the weekend, Clermont, 50-27 over Pau. Castries also got a big victory. This one was 48-17 over Bayonne. High-scoring match as Lyon took down Stade Francais Paris, 42-37. Bordeaux remembered how to play rugby. They scored 71 points, beating Montauban 71-24. Racing 92 got a good victory over Perpignan 28-14. Toulon versus La Rochelle was postponed due to torrential rain. And in the big upset of the weekend, defending champions Toulouse went down to Montpellier 44-14. After 3 rounds, just one team is undefeated, and that is Lyon, who are sitting on top of the table. At the other end of the table, Perpignan and Montauban have 0 wins from 3 games. Now to round 4 in Division 2, D2, to some of the most fun rugby you are going to watch. Grenoble took down Nevers 20-17. Biarritz bet Brive 41-20. Soyo Angoulême was scoreless against Valence Romans, losing 31-0. Big victory for Béziers as they took down Stade Montois 43-9. Colomiers bet Aurillac 38-13. Another close one as again bet Carcassonne 17-13. Dax finally got their first victory of the competition, taking down Oyonnax 18-14, and my beloved Vannes got a good 40-7 victory over Provence. Only 2 teams sit up the top of the table with 3 wins from 4. These are Colomiers, and again, at the other end of the table, there are 3 teams with just 1 win out of the 4. They are Carcassonne, Stade Montois, and Dax. Round 2 in the Premiership Rugby Cup, we saw Northampton take down Saracens 49-34. The Bristol Bears got a good victory over Gloucester 40-24. Leicester bet Harlequins 25-14, and the Exeter Chiefs got up over Bath 23-14. And that is it for this competition until the next international window, which is in November. All of these teams now transitioning into the Premiership. To New Zealand now, we have scores from round 8 in the NPC. We started out with Taranaki beating Hawke's Bay 38-24. Counties won the Battle of the Bombays 49-28 over hapless Auckland. Biggest victory in all games over the weekend, we saw Wellington take down Southland 75-19. Tasman went down to Waikato 29-24. Ranfurly Shield action. This one was crazy. Down 36-21 with 25 minutes left, Otago came back and won this one 38-36. They defeated Canterbury, who were sitting on top of the table, but they also won the Ranfurly Shield, the fourth time it has changed hands in a calendar year, which has only happened two times before, sorry. It is also Otago's first Ranfurly Shield victory in 75 years. No, it's only been 5 years, but I gotcha. We also saw Northland win the Battle of the North 22-21 to North Harbour. And Bay of Plenty took down the Manawatu Steamers. No, sorry, the Bay of Plenty Steamers took down the Manawatu Turbos 55-19. Okay, there are just 2 rounds left. The top 8 look like this: Canterbury, Otago, Taranaki, Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay, Waikato, Tasman, and Northland. Wellington and counties and maybe Manawatu are within reach. Every other team looks out of it at this point. North Harbour are sitting well and truly at the bottom with 0 wins from 8 games. To the Heartland Championship, that next division down in New Zealand, sitting on top of the table, undefeated, we've got Mid Canterbury, and they are followed by South Canterbury. 2 teams have not had a victory. They are Buller and East Coast, and they're playing this weekend. To Super Rugby Australia results from last weekend. The Force defeated the Brumbies 46-35. That puts them well and truly at the top of the table and guaranteed a spot for the grand final. In the other game, the Waratahs absolutely took it to the Reds. This one was 47-17. Force are up the top of the table, followed by the Waratahs and the Reds with 1 win each. The Brumbies have not had a victory as of yet, with just 1 game left. Apparently the Brumbies aren't the Brumbies if they don't have their Wallabies. Now to the Currie Cup final. For the second year in a row, the Golden Lions have lost it in an additional time penalty, or with an additional time penalty, this time going down 27 points to 25 to the mighty Griquas. What this did is it showed those top 4 teams, the URC teams, that the other teams in the comp are not to be messed with. This is a great showing for these players who do not play in the URC, and it is the third time in 4 years where this has happened. Well done to the Griquas, who won their first Currie Cup Premier Division since 1970. 2 women's club games now. Let's go to the Farah Palmer Cup in New Zealand. The final of the championship, the lower tier, Otago absolutely took it to Northland. They won 37-12. So with that championship title and the Ranfurly Shield, the crew down in Dunedin have been going absolutely wild this week. The final round of the Premiership round robin, Auckland took it to counties 57-12. Canterbury beat Bay of Plenty 46-12. And Waikato defeated Hawke's Bay 60 points to 17. What this means is our top 4 are Waikato, Canterbury, Manawatu and Auckland. Hawke's Bay finished 6 games, 0 wins, points differential of, believe it or not, minus 355. That's about 59 points for each loss. Hawke's Bay will go down to the championship. Otago will be in next year's Premiership. And that is it for what happened last weekend. Now, a little bit about me. As I mentioned earlier, we have had a slight rebrand. We are now Big Mike Rugby. Easy to find. Big Mike Rugby on Instagram, Big Mike Rugby on YouTube, Big Mike Rugby on X. The only place to go. And if you want us to talk about any games, any teams, any competitions, reach out and I'll be there, just like the Jacksons, baby. Alright, now let's get back to this roundup. And news from this week, the biggest news is about the women's game and the announcement of the WXV Global Series from 2026. This includes 18 national teams across 2 competitions. The top 12 teams are going to play in a home and away, cross-regional model from 2026 to 2028, with 4 to 6 fixtures annually within a new September-October test window. This will be in addition to the regional competitions such as the Pacific Four and the Six Nations. The other 6 teams will be playing in competitions annually at a single destination. When the British and Irish Lions tour in 2027, there will be some crossover fixtures, and there are going to be about 100 international matches to be played out over a 3-year cycle, really utilising the momentum gained from this World Cup headed towards the next World Cup in Australia. All of this will also be integrated into the qualification program. Those top 12 teams, we're looking at Australia, Canada, England, France, Italy, Ireland, Japan, New Zealand, Scotland, South Africa, the USA and Wales. The next 6 being Brazil, Fiji, Samoa and Spain from the World Cup, and Hong Kong, China, and the Netherlands, who did not qualify this time around. Unsure what this means for the teams outside that top 18. However, this is absolutely great for those teams to get stronger and better and make the next World Cup even better than this one. And speaking of this World Cup, there are just 2 games left. The first of that being that 3rd and 4th playoff between New Zealand and France. France have had the number on New Zealand for the last 6 or so meetings between them, winning 5 out of the last 7 against New Zealand. Their biggest loss to New Zealand came by a single point in the semi-final in the last World Cup. Last year, New Zealand did get the victory. Who will win this one and take 3rd place? Can France do it for a 6th time out of 7? The final is this weekend. It is the first in the world, the heavy favourites, the home country lasses. It is the England Red Roses taking on 2nd ranked in the world, Canada, who have been playing out of their skins and look more cohesive than any other team. Canada have not defeated England since 2016. England looking to continue their momentum from the last World Cup final where they have been unbeaten since then. Can England do it? Can they win the championship at the stadium of all stadiums in England at Twickenham this weekend? It is the biggest game in a very long time, a World Cup final. It is England versus Canada. International men's games this weekend. We have that second game in the Samoa versus Chile contest for a place in the Rugby World Cup. With last week's game being a draw, this one is winner take all. Sold out. It is in Chile. Can they make it to their 2nd consecutive Rugby World Cup? The loser of this one drops down to that final qualification tournament, which also includes Belgium and Namibia, as well as another team to be determined. But that is not all. The Rugby Championship is back. We've got 2 games left. After 4 games each, every team has 2 wins and 2 losses. Australia sit on top of the table with 11 points. South Africa and New Zealand have 10 points, and Argentina have 9. This one could literally go any way, and a win this weekend would do everyone the world of good to get their hand on the Rugby Championship. First game, it is New Zealand hosting Australia. It is a late afternoon, early evening game in Auckland at Eden Park. This is where the All Blacks have gone 51 games undefeated. Australia have not won the Bledisloe for a very, very long time. They need to win this one and then win next weekend in Perth to get themselves the Bledisloe Cup. Australia will be riding high. They had that great victory against South Africa, great victory against Argentina. Australia's biggest flaw so far is that they are getting out to big big deficits and then having to claw their way back into games. If they do that against the All Blacks at Eden Park this weekend, they might be in a bit of trouble. The other thing is New Zealand are just coming from that big, huge 43-10 loss to South Africa just 2 weekends ago, their biggest ever loss. Will that mark the start of the official downfall of the All Blacks? Or will this weekend see one of the craziest comebacks and a whole bunch of hurt men in black ready to hunt some wallabies? In the other game, South Africa are hosting Argentina. This one is at Kings Park in Durban. Classically, Rassie Erasmus has already announced his team nice and early. The mind games have already begun. Argentina and South Africa both started with losses to Australia and New Zealand in their 2-game series. Who will win the first game? Who will go into that last round as bigger favourites to take out the competition? Both of these teams will still be in it, potentially, as long as Australia does not get a bonus point victory. A bonus point victory for the Springboks, though, means that Argentina will not have a chance at the championship. 2 absolutely enormous games happening in men's international rugby. Now to club action. We'll start in France, where the undefeated Lyon will be away from home against Pau. Stade Francais are hosting Bordeaux. Racine 92 hosts Clermont. La Rochelle versus Perpignan. Montauban are taking on Montpellier. Toulouse will be wounded after that huge upset last weekend and will be looking to destroy Castres. And in the final game of the weekend, Bayonne are hosting Toulon. It is too early to tell who has the momentum in this one, but we will see come this weekend. In Division 2, let's go through this very quickly. Again hosts Béziers, Aurillac hosts Vannes, Oyonnax hosts Valence Romans, Provence take on Dax, Soyo and Golemi take on Colomiers, Stade Montois versus Carcassonne, Nevers versus Biarritz, and Brive hosts Grenoble, the home of Andre the Giant. Now the Premiership is starting this weekend. Bath are our defending champions from last season. Newcastle has been rebranded. They are no longer the Falcons, they are the Newcastle Red Bulls. If you go back 2 weeks in time to our episode, we looked at all of the transfers in and out of the Premiership teams going into that first round of the Premiership Rugby Cup. The games this weekend. Saleh Sharks are hosting Gloucester. Newcastle, the new look Newcastle, hosts Saracens. Harlequins are taking on the defending champions Bath. Northampton, the Saints, are hosting the Chiefs Exeter. And it's the Bears versus the Tigers. Bristol versus Leicester. Now let's go to our URC preview. Reminder, this has teams from South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Wales and Italy. Top 8 will qualify for the finals. Our defending champions are Leinster, who took on the Bulls in the final and won 32 points to 7. Let's have a quick look at who is in and who is out of these teams. The Bulls, who lost the final last year, have recruited Andre Pollard to come back to South Africa. And also they're bringing back Curtly Arendse from his trip to Japan. Cardiff are one of 4 Wales teams, when Wales should not be having 4 teams because they're not good enough. But that's all right. Go Cardiff. Connacht, their biggest signing this year is Sam Gilbert, the winger from the Highlanders, who also just hoisted up that Ranfurly Shield for Otago. He'll be joining after the NPC. The Dragons are another Welsh team. What have they done? They've got a lot of players coming in. They've got a lot of players going out. Are they going to finish bottom of the table yet again? Edinburgh, a nice consistent middle of the pack team, signing a bunch of Scots, getting rid of a bunch of Scots. Probably the biggest name they have lost is Emiliano Boffelli, the Argentine fullback. Glasgow, the other Scottish team, the Warriors have remained pretty consistent from last season. Let's hope that they can build on that momentum and do a little bit better than last time. Looking at our defending champions Leinster, oh my god, stupid Europe. Geordie Barrett has gone back to New Zealand. He had a season as a break from Super Rugby, but this year they're bringing in Rieko Ioane from the Blues, who is also a centre who can just absolutely wreck up some Irish players. Ideally, they'll play him at centre instead of on the wing, as he is defensively better in the middle. Trust me, I watch all of his games as a die-hard Blues supporter. The Lions are another team that has remained pretty consistent from last year. They'll have their Springboks as well as a bunch of players who just played and lost yet another Currie Cup final. Munster have only signed 2 names who are not from their academy. They are another team who'll be pretty consistent, but their new coach is someone to watch out for. Their new coach is former Chiefs coach Clayton McMillan, who knows all about how to lose a Super Rugby final. Will Munster be the team that actually takes them to a championship, hopefully for big old Clado? Ospreys, another Welsh team, but they no longer have Wasa Nyathalevu, the Fijian captain, and the centre who has gone to play in France. And then there's Scarlets, another Welsh team. Good old Wales. The Sharks have primarily recruited from within South Africa, as well as bringing in a bunch of players up from the Natal Sharks into the bigger URC team. Stormers, a very similar situation, bringing in a bunch of players that haven't quite played at the higher level yet to hopefully take the Stormers to some gold. Now to our Italian friends. For Benetton, they've signed Josh Fluke as a loan from the Reds. You know, the Flukinator from Super Rugby. But gone to retirement, finally, Augustine Creevy, the legendary Argentine hooker. Now, Ulster from Ireland, the weakest of all the Irish squads according to the table last year, they have amped up their front row, signing Waratahs and Wallabies front rower Angus Bell. And Zebre, the second Italian team, have signed a bunch of Italians. They've gotten rid of a bunch of Italians. They've also signed some players from Super Rugby Americas, which is proving to be a marvellous gateway for these players into pro contracts in Europe. Will we see a new team come out of nowhere and dominate the URC, or are we looking at Leinster, the Bulls, the Sharks, Glasgow, Munster, you know, all those classic teams being back at the top? I, for one, I'm picking the Sharks. Or Munster. I do think Clayton McMillan is an absolutely marvellous coach. He just couldn't get it done against the Crusaders and the Blues. Now to New Zealand's NPC, round 9 of 10. Games this weekend, we've got Hawke's Bay versus Auckland, Southland versus Tasman, Taranaki versus Wellington, Bay of Plenty versus Waikato, Counties Manukau versus Manawatu, Northland versus Canterbury. And the last Ranfurly Shield game of the year. Can Otago keep it over the summer? Or, in the ultimate of ironies, will they lose it to the only team that hasn't had a victory yet? It is Otago taking on North Harbour early Saturday afternoon. It would be pretty funny if North Harbour won this and lost it to Southland next week, though. In Super Rugby Australia, we've got the Brumbies versus the Waratahs and the Force versus the Reds. Now, if the Force beat the Reds and the Reds do not get any bonus points, they are out. The Force are going to host the final, that is guaranteed. Who will they be taking on? Technically, the Waratahs, the Reds, and the Brumbies all have a chance of making it to that final. The Brumbies need a big victory over the Waratahs to get there, though, and they need to rely on the Reds not getting a bonus point against the Force. And in women's club action, we've got the Farah Palmer Cup semi-finals. We have Canterbury hosting Manawatu and Waikato hosting Auckland. And that is it for the rugby coming up this weekend. No, it's not. I just remembered. I spoke about the URC teams, but I didn't talk about the games. The Stormers are hosting the defending champions Leinster. It is Ulster taking on the Dragons. Two of last year's top 4 teams, Glasgow versus the Sharks. Finals losers last year, the Bulls are hosting Ospreys. Zebre take on Edinburgh. Scarlets taking on a new-look Munster. Cardiff host the Lions, and Connacht host Benetton. And that's it for all the rugby coming up this weekend. Now let's quickly talk about our big 3 games. If you've only got time to watch one, see one, follow one, whatever, hey, maybe make sure it's one of these guys. We are going to have a few honourable mentions in Big Mike's Big 3, one of which is our opening round clash in the URC between Glasgow and the Sharks. In the Premiership, the biggest or the best looking game this weekend is between Bristol and Leicester. And once again, we have a Ranfurly Shield clash. This time it's between Otago and North Harbour. But our Big Mike's Big 3, official Big 3 this weekend, we have World Cup qualifier from Chile. It is Chile versus Samoa. It is winner take all. We have the first game in the Bledisloe Cup, New Zealand versus Australia. All Blacks taking on the Wallabies at Eden Park. Winner of this one will have a much better chance of taking home the Rugby Championship also. And our final Big 3 game, obviously this week, we are talking about the Women's Rugby World Cup final, England versus Canada. Who's going to take it out? Let us know wherever you find us. Let us know who you think is going to win the final between England and Canada. Oh boy. That's it for another week. It was a bit all over the place. There's so much rugby going on I can't keep up. There are new champions. There are champions to be determined. There are competitions finishing and there are competitions starting up. Beautiful time of the year to watch the beautiful game. And I hope you all have a beautiful week and you watch some beautiful rugby.